Yeah, good morning, one and all. See, we have discussed consumer behavior, from which we came to know who the consumer is and what the behavior is. Now, today we shall discuss about organizational behavior. So, before that, we should know what an organization is. Organization, as you all know, is a group of people working together for a common cause. Okay, so what is that common cause? That is, they supply products and services to consumer markets. For this, they themselves have to have some goods and services, no, to run their businesses. So these organizations or producers or manufacturers, mining companies or logistic companies, or you can say resellers or governments, no, they all need some raw materials, some components, some tools, and they also have to maintain their products and services, right? Like plant and machinery, they need some related equipment, they need labor, they need some services and all. Yes, so some organizations, they sell exclusively these things to other organization, and they never come into contact with consumers directly. Okay, so these organization, we can name them as business marketers or organizational marketer or industrial marketers. Okay, so from the buying point of view, we have to understand them as organizational buyers. So under this, no, digital marketing, they come under B2B marketing category. Okay, because no, they from business point of view, we are seeing now they are as organizational buyers. So they need to take decisions related to buying and using of products and services related to their business activity. So for this, they need a very careful approach, because they have some implications on cost and quality also of their products and services, so which in turn would be affecting or have an impact on the ability to service consumer markets, no, efficiently and effectively. So organization buying is nothing but it is a decision making process, okay, by which formal organizations, as I told you in the beginning, they establish the need for purchased products and services, and then they identify, they will evaluate, and then they would choose the best one from the available alternative brands and suppliers. Okay, so organizations buying in further of no organizational objectives, such as no, manufacture and deliver goods and services to whom they serve, that is to members, to customers, and to the community. Okay, yeah. So uh, we can say that it is entirely different from consumer buying process, because we are dealing with organizations now. So while buying decisions are made relatively very easy and quickly by no individual consumers, see, if they feel like they have to buy a new garment today, they just go to the shop or they just see the website on online and immediately they take decisions, and or else they can postpone their decisions for a week or so, and easily they'll make decisions and buy that product, right? But whereas organizational buying, no, that involves a deep and thorough analysis. Okay, they have to talk to the departments what they need, like production in department, they have to concern the people over there what kind of products they need, and that has to be passed to finance department and then board of directors. So likewise, a thorough analysis must be done. So and moreover, no, organizations purchase products, no, they are very complex machinery, no, from that to complex components, no, or small components also they buy. So therefore, organizational buyers, they make buying decisions for their organizations, no, and purchase products and services very professionally, because they do a thorough and deep analysis of it, what to buy, which department needs what, and how to approach the finance department, what funds are available for them, so that they can discuss in the board and then get the approval and then buy the products. Okay, so this is how organizational buying process is, so very complex and needs a thorough analysis. Okay, see, as I told you that organization, they buy products and services, and what products they may buy. See, for example, raw materials like no steel, aluminium, iron ore, or sometimes silver or gold, whatever it is. So raw materials they need, and then they buy some capital items, major capital items, like they need a plant and machinery, right? And they have to construct a building and all these things. Minor capital items like pumps, valves and all. They also buy fabricated compounds, or components and some parts, no, and or auto assemblies, no, like castings, forgings, small parts of iron, rubber, plastic, etc. Yeah. And some other processed chemicals, some, if it is a chemical my manufacturing industry, they buy some chemicals and some fluxes for melting, powders and chemicals, right? Consumables also they need, like lubricating oils, to fasten the machinery, then electrodes, fuel and gas, yeah, and office equipment, paper, copiers, typewriters, yeah, as such stationery items. And they also need, no, they take the services as well, like transport services, travel services, touring services, etc. So all this is nothing but, no, they have to make decisions, no, by which formal organization they establish the need for purchased products and services. So an organization can be an industry which buys raw materials for production of finished goods or machines or machine parts and other supplies. Okay. Now, similarly, when we take government organizations, such as ministries, departments, and divisions, they also buy some goods and services for their use. Hospitals, schools, campuses, financial institutions, they also need some materials, no, like fuel, various supplies, construction materials, and some services. Here, no, wholesalers, retailers, distributors, and others, no, they also buy goods and services to produce finished goods. So these are all, different types of organization, and they all buy it. Okay. So by this we have understood what organization is and what are their needs. Why they buy, yeah, what and what they buy, right? So, in simple terms, if we want to say what organizational buying behavior is, it's a complex decision making. Yeah, and that needs communication process, which involves no selecting and procuring of products and services. Yeah, and who are buying this? Organizational buyers, no, organizations. It may be government or private or schools or hospitals or financial institutions or manufacturing industry or as such. Okay. Now, in other words, we can say some total of organizations' attitudes, preferences, intentions, and decisions regarding buying what raw materials or consumables as such. Okay, so it refers to a process of how companies buy goods and services. So you can say that it's a process. Okay. Now, next we shall understand what the nature and characteristics of organizational buying behavior is, or buyer behavior is. So we are calling organizational buyer here. Okay. So see, they have very distinct nature when compared to consumer behavior. Number one is Organizational buying is often, as I told you, a group decision making process. You involve everybody from every department, from every division, from every section to place the things before the board, and then the decisions would be taken, right? So it's like participative. Okay, so in organizations, as I told you, many individuals are involved. Some they need some technical aspects has to have to be considered. Quality has to be considered, and what the cost implications would be, right? So, in order to predict this buying behavior, it's very important to know that who will take part in this buying process. Yeah, what criteria each member uses in evaluating prospective suppliers, no, who are the best suppliers for them, and readily they will supply, and at a very low cost, very economical, and also, and what influence each member has on it. All these things would be discussed. So it hence it is a group decision making process. Number two is, see, organizational buyer is motivated by two criterias, we can say. One is no rational and the other one is quantitative, right? So these two are very dominant in making decisions in organizations, because many people are involved, and no, they may be subjective, and they may be emotions, and they have their own personal purchases, they may have contact with one particular supplier, and also, so therefore rational and quantitative criteria are involved in organizational buying. Number three is organization buying decisions. No, they frequently involve a range of very complex technical dimensions. For example, purchase manager for Maruti Suzuki mobiles, he may consider some technical factors before placing an order, is or to go into a new model, right? So the electronic systems, the acoustics of the interior, the shape of the dashboard, all these things that have to be taken into consideration. So a range of complex technical dimensions a person has to see. Number four is this needs no it is a decision process, as I told you, frequently spans a considerable time, yeah, creating a significant lag between the marketer's initial contact with the customer and the purchasing decision, because this lag may be due to many procedures involved, many people involved, many divisions involved, right? In first thing is in searching the suppliers, and then having a negotiations for the purchase, and then correct documentation, or you can say comprehensive documentation required for order processing, all these things. So therefore considerable time is needed for this decision making. Number fifth is, as I told you, that organization is very unique. Yeah, it's different and it's dynamic. It is influenced by internal environment as well as external environment. So therefore we cannot group all the organizations into one, isn't it? They have to be have some precise categories. Each organization, they have their own way of functioning, that itself has a personality. When I say Tata, Tata companies, we have its no its own personalities there. They have some unique structures, cultures, values, and resources. So likewise, they may have different needs. They have different demands and different buying processes, different behavior, yeah, different way of choosing the suppliers, yeah, assets. So therefore, these are the five things you have to remember when we talk about nature of organizational behavior. One is it's a group decision making process. It is motivated by rational and quantitative criterias. It involves a range of complex technical dimensions. Then it needs a considerable time, and we have to understand that it is very unique in nature. Right. Then we shall understand the characteristics of organizational buying behavior. Number one is to understand it, we have to understand derived demand. Okay. It is nothing but it is a kind of scenario in which the demand for a product depends upon the demand for its final product. Yeah. For offered for sale to the ultimate consumer. Okay. For instance, uh, a demand for air condition. Okay. Air conditioner, air conditioner compressor, if we take, it's determined according to the demand for ACs made by the consumers. Okay, so here the derived demand may be single layered or multi layered. For example, Reliance Trends, Westisides, they purchase their apparel merchandise no, from different sources so that they can sell the ready-made garments to customers, right? So the derived demand in these cases may be deemed as a single layer derived demand. Okay, whereas for manufacturing organizations, the derived demand may be usually multi-layered. The production of demand no depends on the number of organization involved in the supply chain, so hence multi-layered. Okay. Number two is geographic concentration. Yeah. Say mostly industrial market, they are determined no considering majorly no transport facilities and then the cost. Along with this, raw materials, labor supply, climatic conditions, yeah, they are all considered. So it's very common no, to see that specific geography or area, you can say. That's why they are divided into special economic zones or industrial zones, right? So if it is industrial zones in which many industrial units are located, so the synergy derived due to this concentric location is a major attraction for the industrial organization. So being located in a concentric zone. You can take the example of Hyderabad also. No, you say that the whole area is no located with software industry. So you say high tech. Yeah, high tech city, and also all are concentrated in one place. So if any software product has to be designed and all, you can organization would see to that, right? Number three is nature and size of buyers also. Yeah, see, when it is the case of individual, they are small in number, right? But whereas organizational sorry, consumers, individual consumers, they are many in number, but whereas companies, no, they are limited, they are very small in number, and their volume sale, but their volume sale is very large. Yeah, they focus on their efforts on very small number of main buyers who buy goods and services. Okay, but in large volume and paying a huge amount, a very big amount, elephantine price. Yes, so it can be said that majority of organizational buyer resemble oligospony. Okay, being in small number with high volume of sales. Right. Next is moreover, now remember that they have also have higher bargaining power when they are negotiating for the sale with the suppliers. Next is direct channel of distribution. See, these organizational buyers, no, they are approached either by direct or a short indirect channels of distribution. Yeah. They buy in large volume, as I said, and they buy very necessary goods directly from producers or from agents, yeah, of the producers. So, in the global buying, exporting agents or exporting organizations belonging to the country of origin will be used. Okay, in case of high technology products, the use of government agencies is also taken, right? But in some cases, the joint venture and technical collaborations would be there, no, of licensing arrangements that can also be considered. Okay, in channel of distribution. Number five is rational buying and use of economical and technical character. See, organizational buyers, I said you in the beginning also when I was discussing the nature that they are rational in buying goods and products. Yeah, goods and services. compared to the ultimate consumers. They use what objective criteria now, which is very important. Yeah, very much essential to the organization, as the purchase have cost and quality implications, right? So they want to take more information, and they collect no information regarding the features, the quality, the technical use, and the utility, yeah, of all these things. They collect information about all these things of their products, and then when they become aware of the quality and the services they are rendering, and the delivery process and comfortable price, etc., then they go for buying, right? So, and the most dominating factor in this all what I said is quality, services and delivery. Price plays a very big role. Okay. Next is professional buying to meet specific requirements. Okay. See, organizational buyers are very systematic, because I told you no, some process would be there. Very systematic, very rational, and very professional. Because no skilled professionals would be there who have no competence, technical competence, and some experience, and for that they undergo frequent trainings also on buying process, on making contacts, yeah, on material management, and also in legal aspects of buying. So professional buyers are more in number, and they develop very formal methods of to find the suppliers, no, and to evaluate which are giving you best quality, best services, best delivery, best price. Yeah, so then they go for buy, right? Yeah. Then next is complexity of buying, because of no risks are associated with purchase. See, under this organizational buying, no, different persons at different levels, they involved in making decisions. Yeah, it is usually no multi-department decisions, we can say, because multi dimensions of purchase is required, right? The primary of objective of this no process is to ensure objectivity, yes, and adherence to, yeah, in compliance with or at par with organizational goals. Okay. While taking this decision, it becomes very important for the organizational buyers to play the role of, or to know the role of users, motivators, decision makers, and buyers. Okay. So complexity is there. Risks are involved. Yeah. And they may be subjective also sometimes. Right. Next is negotiations and reciprocal buying. Yeah, these buyers, no, they prefer very detailed and prolonged negotiation. The considerable time is required, I told you, no. So prolonged negotiations would be there to ensure themselves that resultant purchase decisions would be very advantageous situation to them. Yeah, in some cases, reciprocal buying arrangement are entered into in order to reduce the risk involved and ensure no mutual benefits, like win-win situation or win-win strategy, both for the buyers and the sellers. Now, for example, Foxconn, this they get license and components of Apple iPhone to be produced in India and other countries, and they sell the produced smartphones to Apple for their markets in different countries. So it's like negotiations and reciprocal buying, right? Uh, See, we have discussed individual consumers and organizational consumers. So a question may come into your examination that differentiate between these two. So draw a table, and on one side you write individual consumers, and the other side, or you buyers, or on the other side, on the right hand side, you can write organizational buyers in one different other column. Okay. And then you can say the demand for consumer products is very direct here, and they have an impact on derived demand, whereas organizational is heavily influenced by derived demand. Next, consumer buying, they consist of activities involved in buying and using products, especially for personal use or household use. But here, in case of organizational buyers, they buy products to deliver goods and services to ultimate consumers, right? And consumer behavior is complex here and very emotional here, but organizational buyer, it is simple as well as complex depending upon the product and service. Yeah. And consumer decisions are the decisions made by individuals, but here a group of people are involved. Relatively risk involved in this purchase is very low, but in case, so because they buy in huge numbers, so risk is also high. Whereas in case of individual consumers, they are widely distributed, but here it is geographically concentrated. Consumers, they are vast in number, but organizations, they are very less in number. And here consumers, they shift from one product to another. We can say it's a heterogeneous in nature. Whereas organizational buyers, they are more or no homogeneous products, okay, and they require more homogeneous products and they are few in number. And it is very common for the consumer no to characterize by elastic demand. No, as a consumer want to take advantage of the special fall in price, they just look for whether gold rate is decreasing or not, and if it decreases immediately they go for buying, right? But whereas in case of organizational, it is characterized by inelastic demand. It is total demand for all business products. They are not affected by any price, yeah, in the short run, right? The consumer marketers are usually at a distance, no, from the customers because they're widely spread. But here, supplier, they have a long-term relationship and they are at a very no at a very point or a point of sale, okay, or at a juncture of the purchase process, okay. Consumer decision making is influenced both by internal and external factors in organizational behavior, both external and internal. But they'll establish no a systematic approach to identify the available alternatives, right? Consumer decisions are influenced by financial resources they have, but here purchases in organizational buyers, they involve large sums of money, huge money, complex technical considerations, economic considerations. Many people are involved at every level and all. Yeah. So this is how you can write the differences between organizational buyer and consumer buyer. Now, when we look into different types of organizational buyers, yeah, we have to understand around uh, four different organizational buyers. Number one is industrial buyers. Okay, industrial buyers. Uh, See, major part of organizational buyers, they comprise of industrial production or organizations or manufacturing organizations, yeah, or as I said, production organizations. They normally purchase goods and services for producing other goods and services. Okay. What by using the raw material. So suppliers of raw materials, they have a vital role in this industrial buyers. So producers, they buy raw materials, machinery, components, tools and spare parts, no, etc. From other producers and sometimes no from resellers. So in addition, they need some services like transport, no, risk management, insurance companies and all, right? They take those services as well. But their main objective is to purchase products that will enable them to produce and market those products ultimately to whom? To the consumers. Okay. So these are industrial buyers. Next, we have institutional buyers. See, institutional markets include non-profit organizations. Remember here, non-profit organizations like Red Cross, UNICEF, some hospitals, some charitable organizations like ISKCON and all, no, and some universities and some colleges. We call them, no, as institutions. Some clubs also, okay. They are engaged in activities, but they don't want more profits, right? In other words, non-profit activities they do. They buy a huge quantity of products and services, no, like government and other organizations. And the holding cost is very essential, important to them. So their main objective here is to serve more beneficiaries. Yeah, because they are accountable to the donors, because they run, no, with the help of donations and subscriptions and all. So they are accountable to the donors, so they follow a similar procedures whatever the organizational buyers are following, same thing they also. And that means a process would be there for decision making process. Next we have intermediate buyers. We call them as resellers as well. Now the main purpose is to transfer products through a supply chain, okay, and adding value to them. The main types of intermediaries, they are wholesalers, dealers, agents, and then value added resellers, okay. And see, resellers, they include wholesale companies, retailers, and niche suppliers also. They are specialized in particular areas and where they have some expertise. Yeah. The key factor for marketing to resellers is to be aware of their added value propositions. Okay. Added value propositions. Now, for example, in the steel industry, an intermediate buyer is a company that purchases some scrap metal from scrap yards around the country, and then this scrap is sold to manufacturers to produce some parts required for other manufacturing industries, manufacturing units. So this, what it will do, it will saves, yeah, the manufacturer's time, manufacturer's money, because they only have to deal with the intermediate buyer and not many scrap yards, isn't it? So this is one. Next we have government and public sector organizations. See, public uh, sector and government buyers, they are one which are always regulated and controlled by either the central government or state government or both. Okay. And they, as you all know, they play a very important role, and manufacturing through public sector enterprises, and then operating service organizations such as big ones, right? BSNL, LIC, railways, and some public sector banks. All they do is they require uh, different inputs. Yeah, and different inputs in the form of what? In the form of raw materials, in the form of components, parts, some tools, some machinery. Yeah, as such, right? In addition, the government is the biggest consumer of any economy. They require different product to support their administrative works of different wings. Yeah, they need huge quality of goods and huge quantity of goods and services, especially to meet the social welfare needs of the country, right? So what the government do, they follow a budget system. For what? For allocating financial resources, especially for the purchase of different products and services. Yeah. So we call it as, no, the buying of government, we call this process as procurement. Okay. And mostly they are contract driven. So usually government, what they do, they go for a contract basis. Yeah. And this will help the government to lock in some low prices so that they are able to set some budgets without worrying any fluctuation in prices. Okay, so what the government do is they buy different products, no, from paper to fax machines to tanks and weapons, constructing buildings, construction of services like dams, irrigation projects, medical and security services. So all these things. So they usually make contracts. Now, next important topic which we have to discuss today is factors influencing this. Okay, factors influencing organizational buying behavior. See, any organization we have learned in business environment that they are affected by internal environment as well as external environment, right? So if you just see, these are the things we have to see that uh, external. Yeah, external environmental factors, no, they are like economic environment, social, political, legal, infrastructural, yeah, all these things. And next, organizational factors like goals and objectives of organization or a company, the policies and procedures they follow, and what the structure of organization is, what culture they follow, what's their financial position. These are the things. Next, when we see interpersonal factors, no, they are like status and authority, involvement, persuasiveness, or negotiation styles and negotiation way, and their buying role, right? Even individual factors, because many people are involved, no, at a different level and different departments and at different divisions. So individuals are involved. So hence, individuals' education, expertise, experience, and the job position they have, and their attitude and personality. Yeah, especially the attitude towards risk. These are all the factors which are influencing organizational buying behavior. Let us see one after the other. First, we'll begin with environmental factors which are externally influencing it. See, environmental factors, they constitute a very important one. Uh, and this includes economic situation and outlook. Yeah, that is domestic and global. Even government policies towards industrial development, taxation policy, competitive environment in the country, yeah, technological development, and trade relations with the suppliers of different countries. Likewise, now, for instance, if the organizational buyer feels that the government is going to increase the tax on industrial buying, then it is likely to increase in the near future. Okay, when the government is saying that if it is increase in tax in the coming days, then buying of material will increase as buying will become costly in future due to tax burden, right? So therefore, organizational buying increases. The buyer, he very cautiously, what the organization that does is they go for huge buying. Yeah. Uh, Next is organizational factors. They are internal factors affecting decision making. Every purchasing organization, no, they have some objectives and goals. A well accepted producer and system of purchasing, and an systematic, or you can say appropriate organizational structure. So they uh, directly or indirectly they influence the purchase decision. uh, See, other industries and organizational purchases, They may have different ways or procedures for purchasing. Suppliers, they have to make a note of the procedural differences among, different organizations, especially with regard to purchase procedures, and adjusting their quotations, and structure assigns authorities and responsibilities for making decisions to job positions across the country. Okay. Yeah. Next is interpersonal group factors. See, the buying center, they involve several individuals, and with different formal authority, with different status, with different pursuitiveness. So buying centers, they consist of individuals concerned with the purchase decision process. So what they do, they share the risk arising of out of it. They also have a common goal, and they make interaction uh, with regards to purchase to be made. Sometimes the personal biases and attitudes will interfere in buying decision, and there's a possibility of conflict between these members. Yeah. Then the suppliers need to know about such conflicts in order to resolve them, so that no marketing program, you can say, can be adjusted accordingly. Okay. Yeah, these are interpersonal or group factors. Next is individual factors, that is also playing a vital role, because many individuals are involved in organization. So the makeup of these individual is important. Okay. A supplier needs to have a complete details of individuals personal characteristics, especially with regards to age, education, you can say demographic profile. Okay. Job position, the maturity, yeah, all these things. Then final decision is based on factors, uh, apart from this demographic what I told you, even perception, preference, and motivational level, right? So the individual bio, he must be assertive, or may have some cooperative attitude also. Okay. So hence the supplier, no, he has to adjust all these categories of individual buyers and industrial buyers, so that he can finalize the purchase and have a continuous relationship with this particular organization. Okay. Yeah, we have time. We can go for the other points as well. Yeah, we have to know about different situations as well. Okay, in organizational buying. So, organizational buying situations. Say, organizational buying behavior is influenced by buying situations which are encountered by decision makers. Okay, see, uh, these are majorly four types, four situations, you can say: straight rebuy situation, new task buy situation, modified rebuy situation, systems buy situation. Okay, we'll look one after the other. Number one is straight rebuy. See, this is, see, the name itself is saying very simplest situation, wherein what the organizations do is they reorder a good or service without any modifications. Okay. And usually these transactions are very routine, and usually it's the task of purchasing department. Okay. They get requisition from inventory control department, uh, or from or they may seek some quotations from vendors in an approved list. Then orders are placed for office supplies, or for raw materials, or items of daily use, or as such. Okay. Where the supplier is known, very simple procedure is followed. Okay. Directly they can get it, the raw materials from the supplier. Here you have to remember that there are two categories of suppliers involved in this straight rebuy. Those already in the supply list of the organization, we call them as in suppliers. Okay. While those who want to make into the suppliers list for the first time, we call them as out suppliers. Okay. The in suppliers, they make efforts to maintain that product and services, whereas out suppliers, they make efforts to come to in the name list. Okay. Which would be approved by the vendors. They always try to have that. Next, we have modified rebuy. The buyer wants to reorder a product but with some modifications. In straight rebuy, no modifications are there, but here in modified, name itself is saying that some modifications are required with relation to some product specifications. Okay, it may be the packaging or the brand or whatever it is. Okay, and the prices as such. Okay, or 4 P's, you can say some modifications or the 4 P's of the uh, marketing. In this buying situation, there is a modification, as I told you, and accordingly they change and they modify and provide it. Okay. The chain may be due to some internal changes or external changes. Here, executives, they are involved. Okay. And the company always looks for additional suppliers and who are ready to modify. That is what they see. No. Yeah. Next is new task buy situation. See here, the buyer is buying the product for the first times. New, no, new task, new experience, new way of getting a product. Okay. When a task is performed, items may be bought without previous experience. That would be definitely a first time. These could be a new machines like computer or fax machines. Yeah, the need for such product may not have occurred previously, but now we came to know that yeah, even smartphones, yeah, that has come. The need has come now. So for a new task, a new setup and new items are necessary. Okay, which we have not purchased before. The number of participants and the amount of information sought tend to be increase with the cost and risk associated with the transactions, because they see they gather a lot of information about the quality, about the price, about the availability. Yeah, so they do a lot of exercise while they go for the first time to buy. Okay. So for marketers, the new task is the best opportunity because they don't know, no, they don't have any previous experiences. So therefore, marketers can catch this opportunity and can win the hearts of new consumers. Yeah, yeah, right. Next is systems buy situation. See, this systems buying situation is a process in which organization gives a single order to a single organization for supplying a full system. Okay. Uh, Here, what the organization who wants to buy they do is this they want the system seller to engineer the system, to procure the units from various vendors, assemble them properly, fabricate them, and then construct the system. Okay. So in these opportunities, the buyer may be interested in a supplier who offers him a complete package, you can say, or solution for the business problem. See, if it is an event, for example, event management, we need not worry. We have to just dress up parcels and go to the function. Other things, all a package is given. No, marriage, right, from the haldi till the reception and all these things would be covered by the event managers. A package, so we don't have any tensions and all. So it's like that system buy situation is that type. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, any questions here? I can take because only I can take up any questions if anybody has. Yeah, shall we move further for the models of organizational buying behavior? Before we wind up, I think it's still time. Just remember that there are four models. One is buy grid framework model, Fisher's model, Webster and Win model, and Jagdish N. Sheth model. Okay, these are the models dealing and specifying us and giving a comprehensive and integrated picture of what factors are influencing this organizational buying behavior. Okay, let's see the number one buy grid framework model. See, Robinson, Faris, and Wynn, the Canadian, the American, and the Israeli, they are the marketing researchers. In 1961, have introduced this. Okay, they saw industrial buying not as a single event, okay, but as a organizational decision making process where multiple individuals decide on a purchase. So their framework, they have given a model which consists of a matrix of buy classes and buys purchases or buy phases. Okay, they saw industrial buying as multiple individuals are involved and their metrics is consists of three: new task, modified rebuy, and straight rebuy, as we have seen the situations before. New task is the first time buyer seeks a wide variety of information to explore alternative purchasing solutions to his organizational problem. Okay, and modified rebuy, the buyer wants to replace product the organization uses, so with some modification, with some changes related to product, related to price, or related terms and conditions, yeah, as such. And straight rebuy, it's a business buying situation in which buyer routinely reorder something without any modifications. Okay, so these are the situations they have discussed in buy grid framework model. So based on their research, uh, they have said that there are eight different phases. Number one is, first of all, recognize recognizing the organizational problem or need. Okay, recognizing it. Number two is determining the characteristics of the item and what the amount they need, the quantity they need. Number three is description of the characteristics of the item and the quantity needed. Okay. Then fourth one is search for and qualification of potential resources. No, where who the suppliers are. All. And then next is search after knowing the potential suppliers, you need to have uh, acquisition and the proposals have to be analyzed. Next is evaluating those proposals and then selecting the suppliers. That is nothing but decision making process among the available alternatives, who the suppliers are in there in the market, and then selection of that order in a routine way. Okay, and the last one is take the feedback and then evaluate accordingly, and then place the order the next time you buy. So this is what the buy grid model is stated. Okay, we shall continue the other models tomorrow because I have got the stimuli from Brio to close. Okay.